when their guy plays some games.
Alright, hi y'all. Weather Guy here. We are back with some more Ace Attorney Chronicles. Hope you're doing great. I'm feeling pretty good. I am ready to do a bunch more voices for an hour, and maybe we'll solve this case today. We'll see. I don't know. But having a blast. Let's get into it. Unfortunately, oh Jesus, I'm already screwed up. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses and toast. So, recap, real quick, for people who don't recall. Guy was eating lunch with this lady. We thought he was shot because we heard a gunshot. But an interesting thing is that he had a burn mark on his wrist that matches the iron emblem that was on the plate in front of him. But he never yelled out because of the burn, which means he was dead before he got burned. So we're trying to figure it out through our own name. Of course, you probably already know all this, but for those who don't. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. She also took one of the glasses away, which is kind of interesting. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides the gunshot. This is an English woman. If there's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace, please do show me. Poison. Well, of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway. Fantastic. That most captivating and beautiful testimony will go down in the Supreme Court's history. Thank you. He does it. I hope that is the last time I'll have to sully my lips with the coarse tones of your unbecoming tongue. Oh, forgive me. I do hope I haven't insulted anyone. Not at all, not at all. It is a delight merely to hear you speak, dear lady. And it seems very clear from your testimony that this boorish talk of the victim's burn is utterly irrelevant. I will be speaking to your country's Minister of Justice about what has happened here today. The Minister of Justice? May that irritating little bully of a student be given the harshest punishment possible. Amen. Huh? Thanks? Was that a prayer then? Well, you'll have to forgive the irritation, Miss Brett, and put up with the cross-examination now. I expect you've noticed that this little bully of a student, as you put it, that doesn't miss much. Oh, doesn't miss much. I had a wrong voice. Sorry. I'm sure I don't need to remind you, counsel, that this will be your final cross-examination in this trial. If you fail to demonstrate any problems with this witness's testimony, I will be ruling on the case immediately. Is that clear? Sounds good. Yes, Your Excellency. Then you may proceed with the cross-examination. Alright, let's get into it. Victim's death. Fortunately, I have no idea when the poor man burnt his wrist like that. This is where, again, we press every time because there's no downside to pressing, right? But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. You think so? Let me ask you something. Sorry? Ever since I arrived at this courtroom, and even still now, the fly on those unsightly black trousers of yours has been wide open. You can't not have noticed, can you? Huh? What? Ah! Haha, what fun! You hadn't realized. The dear lady is absolutely right. As your friend, you've embarrassed me as well as yourself, Ryu. Why didn't you tell me? Dr. Wilson was a true English gentleman. He chose honorable silence over a vulgar scream. Can your tiny brains imagine such a thing? Oh yes, I think my tiny brain can.
Yes!
I can't. Anyway. When the waiter brought my steak, the professor and I raised our glasses in a toast. As far as I've heard, the post-mortem report showed no other possible cause of death besides a gunshot.
Yes!
Yes, it's written here in the paperwork. Fatal hemorrhage from ballistic trauma. Yes? Luckily for all of us, a little burn on the wrist isn't going to kill us. And as there were no other signs of trauma on the victim's body to indicate some other cause of death, it can only have been the bullet from your gun that put an end to this innocent man's life. But it doesn't make sense. The burn must have happened straight away when the plate was first brought to the table by the waiter. Yes, that's true. If it had cooled even slightly, it wouldn't have been able to make a burn like that. And if the victim burnt his wrist on the hot plate as soon as it was brought out from the kitchen, then he must already have been dead at that point.
Objection!
And yet, the fact is that the victim was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Until you're able to show the court evidence to prove that, this is a complete waste of time. I concur. Prosecutor Ouchie is right. There's some other way a man's life can be taken without leaving a trace. Please do show me.
Yes!
You say poison. Without leaving a trace. If someone is wrong words. If someone is shot, or strangled, or stabbed, or thrown from a height, however a person's life is taken, there's always a telltale traces on the body. Quite right, dear lady. And as our police force has thoroughly examined the body of the deceased, there can be no doubt. Isn't that right, Inspector Asanaga? As I've said, I always aim for a flawless investigation. There would be physical traces with all those causes of death, that's true. Maybe there's some other way of killing someone that doesn't mean. If, heaven forbid, you doubt me, young man, you're gonna have to tell everyone how exactly you think the professor did lose his life. Otherwise, I'm afraid your argument falls rather flat, doesn't it? Oh no, perish the thought! Calling such a sweet young lady's innocence into question. On my honor, I, Detective Ouchie, will cut down any who dare cast such aspersions. Way of killing someone that leaves no trace. We need some evidence to back us up here. Yes, evidence. Alright. And of course, this country's inferior investigative techniques probably wouldn't pick up on it anyway.
Yes!
I don't know what we're going to get from this press, but we'll try it. Inferior? What do you mean by that? In the lands of the Great British Empire, the police store everything found at a crime scene for later examination. But in this country, you investigate once and that's the end of it. Is that so? Quite right. La Carnival is open for business as usual today, just days after the incident. Exactly. Which means that even if the investigation takes a different direction, vital evidence may be lost. But this guy is still dying. That has to be relevant. It doesn't even occur to your naive detectives to try to preserve the crime scene. I'm trying to be as tactful about this as I can, you understand? Aha! Killer blow! The lady is as formidable as she is beautiful. Amazing. He's actually admitting our police may be flawed. Perhaps Prosecutor Ouchie is finally starting to see sense. I very much doubt that. Still, something about what Miss Brett just said. Some more before. Something didn't seem quite right. What do you think, Ryu? I think it's going terribly. No matter how much I press her, I'm not turning up any new information. Yes, as I suspected, he's a tough witness. We need to find a way to break your testimony, or the cross-examination will be over. But that would mean I have to find a way. There must be some clue somewhere to help us find a chink in her armor. Zuma, you're not going to get to go to school. You're not going to Great Britain, Kazuma. What, Ryo? There is one thing I noticed, something that's been bothering me. Bothering you? You mean about Miss Brett? Actually, no. About the person standing next to her. Inspector Asanaga. Detective? Yes, he seemed to react a little strangely to Miss Brett's last statement. I was wondering if it might be significant. It might present an opening maybe. Alright, I have an idea. Try pressing her on that last statement one more time. We're going to do what's called the double press. You think so, but this time, instead of targeting the woman herself, Let's see what we can get out of the detective. Alright then. Oh, Kazuma's thinking. I'll find out soon enough, I suppose, once I press Miss Brett on her last statement again. Unfortunately, I have no idea when the poor man... So if we go into history, can we press the previous statement? No, we have to loop it around again? Okay.
Yes!
But his hand was on the searing hot plate for at least 3 whole seconds. You can't not have noticed. Do you think so? Let me ask you some... Oh no. We already did this. You can skip this. I know. I know.
Yes!
Okay. Oh. Okay. Then we go to here. And we... Oh no. Oh, I accidentally went all the way through. I'm a failure. I'm a sham. Oh man. Halloween for me today, by the way. Hope y'all had a good Halloween. We're doing trick-or-treating and all that tonight. Very excited. I'm gonna go back through and press on that last statement. This time, hopefully, I won't mess up. Alright, one more. Press.
Yes!
Alright, now let's see what happens. Come on, I'm waiting for a reaction.
Wait.
Oh, wait. Yes, there it is again. The detective's reaction is just the same as before. Why? Up until now, the detective has been in the stand with Miss Brett as her interpreter. But things are very different now. For this testimony, the detective is just listening to what the Englishwoman has to say. This could be a golden opportunity. What do you mean? When people are actually testifying, they're usually very careful not to let anything slip. However, when you're listening to someone else speak, you'll find they often let their guard down. You're right, look at him. He's just staring at his hand, like a lunatic. He looks like the Booker T right before he does a spinner, and he's like, you know what I'm talking about? Time to pursue the man and his train of thought. Sorry? Pursue? I'll explain how to do it now, Ryu. It's all to do with the witness marker. At the moment, we're focused on Miss Brett, who's the person actually making the current statement. But you can go left and right. Turn your attention to other people in the stand. While you're looking at the other witnesses, you'll be able to pursue them with A button. If you catch the person at just the right time, you might uncover some new information to pursue. If you ever notice a strange atmosphere amongst the people on the stand, take a good look around. Alright then, so first I should move the marker across with the D-pad and then focus on the detective? Pursue him with A. See what's on his mind. Here we go! Exactly, which means that even in that takes a different direction.
Wait.
What you doing over there, bud? What's going on here?
Excuse me.
Excuse me? What the? What's the meaning of this? So sorry, I didn't mean to shock you. I really was lost in his thoughts. Deeply. It looked like you were thinking something just now, Inspector. Perhaps having heard what the lady next to you had to say, Music. I love when the music picks up in this game like this. It's so good. Alright. If there's something you'd like to say, please share it with the court.
Objection!
What is the meaning of this? It's the delightful English woman who's testifying at the moment. If you can't find fault with their testimony, then the cross-examination should be over immediately. Oh, is that how it works? Absolutely not. Hmm? The detective is in the stand, which makes him a valid witness. Yes, not to mention the fact that he's intimately involved in the case. Inspector Asanaga. Yes? Do you have something to add in relation to the statement just made by Miss Brett? Well, yes. If you don't mind, I would like to speak. Come on, give me something good. The lady is right. Our country's police practices are not as modern as those used in Great Britain. Which is why I, Satoru Hasanaga, always strive to make every investigation I'm involved in flawless. What do you really mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean. I won't have evidence lacking on my watch. I'm not afraid to take everything I can from the scene of the crime. It's preserving evidence, you see. I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief. I'm not ashamed of what I've done. I'm dying. Crime scene thief? Well, it looks like the lady's remarks touched a nerve there. Take this, for example. Why did you not ever present this earlier? That makes no sense. Is that? This is the bottle of carbonated water that I took to the victim's table on the day in question. Yes, it's lost all of its fizz, having been opened 3 days ago now. But it was carbonated water. I don't care what anyone says. There's some left in the bottle. I can see it. One day our police force will be among the best in the world. The time is coming, I guarantee it. I can't say I condone the witness's actions, but I do understand the sentiment. The court will accept the glass bottle of water as evidence. Carbonated water was. Miss Brett. We're gonna go ahead and look at this. We don't got time to fool around. Label is written in a foreign language that I don't recognize. Do you know what it says, Kazuma? I think it's French. This must be very expensive water. Yes, but what does it say? That's what I was asking. Go to France and ask. You could just say that you don't know. So this carbonated water is the last drink Dr. Wilson ever had. It looks like there's a little left in the bottle, although it's just plain water now. You know, I've been sweating so much. I'm absolutely parched. I'll just have a sip of this to keep me. No, Ryu. You can't do that. For one thing, that's evidence. You can't go drinking evidence. Oh no, you're right. Oh, we don't know what might be inside, do we? You never cease to amaze me, Ryu. In more ways than one. Could there be anything in this water? What's the matter? You've gone quiet all of a sudden. I think I might have just worked something out. An interesting possibility. That's all we need to look at here. On the bottom. Okay. Cool. Come on, let's get there. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and look at something else I was curious about. Has this water been drank? No, this water looks like it has been drank. Okay. Miss Brett. Can you confirm this is indeed the bottle from which you drank on the day of the victim's death? Yes. It was that bottle. What's that about? She seemed to avert her eyes when she answered the judge's question. Very well. Counsel, you may resume the cross-examination. And the inspector will kindly control his fervor. Okay. Okay. Let's try this. Oh, I wanted to. Oh, I did it again. I'm such a fool. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I'm excited about Halloween tonight. Should be good. It's probably close to Thanksgiving for y'all, maybe.
Yes!
Well, what about that last statement made by the witness? It seems perfectly reasonable to me. Exactly. Perfectly reasonable in every way. Perhaps you should take a leaf out of the witness's book. Learn to be more reasonable yourself. Alright, I just need to calm down and think everything through again from the start. Crap. Now let's try.
Yes!
What is it? Oh, now we got it. What is this? The bottle of water? Actually, there is one method of killing man without leaving a trace that comes to mind. Obviously, I'm referring to poison. Poison? On the day of his death, we know that Dr. Wilson drank from this bottle of carbonated water. Could it be that there was poison inside? Could it be that the professor actually died after taking a sip from his glass? Order, order, order! And on that day, who was sitting at the same table as the professor and able to slip the poison into his drink? There's only one person who could possibly have done it. Azale Brett, it was you!
Objection!
This is outrageous to suggest such a thing without a scrap of evidence. You little rookie imbecile, have you even considered the delicate situation our country finds itself in now? Have you forgotten that we have only just signed an accord of friendship with the British Empire? Have you even the vaguest inkling that your rash accusations could jeopardize the entire treaty?
Objection!
This is not a political arena. This is a trial to determine one individual's guilt with respect to one crime. What? The fact that this woman is British makes no difference. We are here to determine the truth. If I may, I will silence you forever for this disgraceful on the. Shut up. It is you. Should be silent. Of course. Dear lady. Where did that come from? She just snapped. I'm afraid I may have spoken unfairly before. I offer my most humble apologies. I'm sorry, my lady. To what are you referring? I described your police force as inferior, but no matter how inferior they may be, you still investigated this particular point thoroughly, I believe? The bottle, I mean, Inspector, whether it contained poison or not? Of course. You did? Have you forgotten what my guiding principle is already? I strive for a flawless investigation every time. I don't believe it. Naturally, we tested the inside of the bottle and its contents. And? What did you find, Inspector? I order tests for every toxin that's available in this country at the present time. We could find no trace of poison of any description in the bottle of carbonated water, Your Excellency. What? Are you sure? The tests were meticulously carried out by the Chief Coroner himself. No, No! You thought we had a breakthrough there, huh? Very grateful to all you Japanese. You successfully established my complete innocence in this horrid affair. Thank you. But of course, dear lady, the pleasure was all ours. I was so sure. This can't be right. Everything falls into place if he was poisoned. Thank you, counsel. I think that cross-examination has clarified everything. As the prosecution have asserted, a shot to the chest from this gun is the only conceivable cause of death. Furthermore, the accused, who by his own admission was holding this weapon, is the only possible culprit. I'm done for. The court wishes to apologize for the great inconvenience this has caused you, Miss Brett. Oh no, I'm just glad the matter is resolved. Before proceeding, I must ask the counsel for the defense. Do you have any further new evidence to present the court at this point? Zuma? Uh-oh, things are looking hopeless. Sorry, Ryu. I have nothing more. I'm not going to Great Britain after all. Well, if you'll excuse me now, I really must be leaving. Please don't leave. We gotta get her. It's her. Oh, it's her. Oh, that's right. They had evidence they had to bring. Please, wait. Isn't that... What is the meaning of this? Forgive me for intruding on court proceedings, Your Excellency. Sada Mikatoba, Judicial Assistant to the Defense. Mikatoba? My darkest hour with nowhere left to go, she appeared like a bolt of lightning. And in her hand, she carried a small package wrapped in a furoshiki cloth. Well, what is it? To be continued? Aww! No! We gotta keep going. We're going more. It's only 30 minutes in. We're going more, baby. Man, these cases last longer than I expected. we're at 3.5 hours in. Crazy. Trial Part 3. Holy moly. Come on, let's see what the evidence is, man. Let's see it. Give me the news. I love the music in this game. It's so good. Well, I understand you are the judicial assistant to the defense, but why the sudden ingress into my courtroom? Ah, judicial assistant. I'm a woman, no less. The rule states that females are not permitted in this court of law other than to testify. Yes, I fully understand. I ask only for 5 minutes of time. I have some vital evidence that I must hand over to the defense. Ah, you're too late, little girl. This trial has already been concluded. 5 minutes. I will not allow a moment more. Your Excellency. I am most grateful. She's cute, isn't she? Who exactly are you? I'm sorry, there's no time. Please simply accept this for now. What is it? A report about something? Written in English? It's Giselle Brett's research. English woman's? After the trial resumed earlier, I hurried back to the university. I went to Dr. Wilson's laboratory in the medical faculty and... I bet that was supposed to say facility. And borrowed this paper. Oh yes, that's right. Miss Brett was studying under the professor, wasn't she? But does this research, whatever it is, have something to do with the case? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't been able to listen to the proceedings of the trial myself. Oh no, of course not. Special characteristics of pure air and its effects on human subjects. Interesting. Pure air? What's that? Never heard that word before. Time's up! The prosecution demands the immediate removal of this female trespasser from the courtroom. There was too little time for me to read it in detail. I've summarized what I could on a note just inside the cover. If you think it could be valuable, please cast your eye over it. This is wonderful. Thank you. Report detailing an unknown poison that Miss Brett's been researching during her time at the university. Goodbye then, and good luck. I'm gonna disappear. You have had long enough, Counsel. We cannot detain our English guest any longer. I ask the prosecution and the defense now one last time. Does either side have any further evidence to present to the court? I presume not, but... The prosecution has made its case convincingly enough already. Nothing more to add, Your Excellency. Rio, we're out of options here. This really is our very last chance. Yes, I know. Your Excellency, the defense does have new evidence. That look. The unyielding stare of a true Japanese warrior. Well, Miss Brett? Yes, Your Excellency? If you wouldn't mind, perhaps you could grace us with your presence a little longer? A delightful invitation, but I'm afraid it's not so very long until tea time. I'll have to politely decline. Forgive me, Miss Brett, it seems I wasn't clear. I realize it was phrased as a question. However, I must ask you to treat that as an order. I've said it many times before, but Japanese language makes no sense. My apologies, dear lady. So, Counsel, what is this new evidence that demands the court's attention? Let's examine this first. Instant paralysis and then subsequent. Through a wound. Interesting. I know it. I know it. I know it. I know it. I know what happened. I know it. So, Professor had his tooth taken out, right? So he has a wound in his mouth. The water does have poison in it. Or did. Or something had poison in it. And he drank it. And it went through the wound in his mouth. And it wouldn't affect Miss Brett because of no wound. And it wouldn't show up in the police stuff because it's a new poison, right? Maybe? Huh. Okay.
Yes!
Miss Giselle Brett, we understand you were studying under Dr. Wilson at Yuma University, doing research. Research by sheer coincidence, perhaps, into a deadly poison. What? Poison? Where are you going with this, Counsel? Toxin known as Curare, Your Excellency. Even the slightest amount of this deadly poison entering the body leads to instant death.
Objection!
What? What complete and utter nonsense? Get Curare, you say? I've never even heard of it. You wouldn't have done. What do you mean? I mean that you wouldn't have heard of Curare before for one very simple reason. It doesn't exist in our country. It doesn't exist. Correct. Which means, no matter what test the police can do for toxins, they never identify Curare. I knew it. I knew it. Why? Because there is no test available here that can identify the presence of this highly deadly poison. What? Order, order, order. Counsel, does this deadly poison truly exist? According to this report authored by the visiting research student from England, Curare has long been used by the tribespeople of South America as a poison to lace their arrows. It seems that it's reasonably well known among European doctors and scientists. To lace their arrows? The report states that it is produced from the extract of a tree that grows deep in the Amazonian jungle, and it was first brought back to Europe at the turn of the century by explorers. It claims that animals shot by arrows laced with Curare suffer instant death. Doesn't that about sum it up, Miss Brett? trumpery! These aspirations are utter trumpery! Glares. To start with, if the victim had been administered some of this so-called deadly poison, he would have been squirming and writhing in pain, and the other diners would have surely noticed. Incorrect, because it paralyzes first. That's true. What do you say to that, Inspector? Obviously, I would have noticed a disturbance like that. I don't remember anything like that either. I didn't notice the professor being in any kind of pain. According to this, however, it's the other way around. What do you mean, the other way around? The very fact that the victim didn't show any visible signs of distress is evidence that Curare was used. Explain yourself, counsel. The moment this toxin enters a person's system, it causes instant paralysis. In other words, afflicted victims lose all strength and are completely unable to move. Even if they were in total agony, there would be no visible signs of pain at all. How terrible. Obviously, if a man lost all strength in his muscles, he'd collapse on the floor. But with a chair under him for support, as Dr. Wilson did, the effects could go largely unnoticed. I don't follow, Kazuma. That's just paralysis. I thought the poison caused instant death. The full explanation is extremely unpleasant. Poison causes immediate paralysis, as I said, leaving the victim unable to move. But after a short time, the paralysis is so severe it causes the muscles that control respiration to fail. Respiration? In other words, the actual cause of death is suffocation. And all the while, the victim is conscious and aware, just unable to move. That's hideous! To the observer, it would look almost like the victim was slipping peacefully into an endless sleep. But for the victim himself, his final moments would be a living hell. That is the true nature of this deadly Curare poison. Sick. We almost got her, dude. We almost got her. And you're suggesting that this bottle, counsel, actually contains this terrifying poison.
Objection!
This is all very convenient, isn't it? A hitherto unknown poison for which there is no means of testing. What a happy tale for the defense. If I may. All these facts, you think you're so clever, but you must be taught to... It's you who must be taught. Of course. Dear lady. So, this is how you Japanese behave, is it? What? You steal another's honest hard work and then announce the results as if you discovered them. I'm appalled. What a loathsome act. Well, Miss Brett, the feeling is mutual. Whatever do you mean? Capitalizing on the unfortunate circumstances of an innocent man to frame him for a heinous crime. That really is a loathsome act. Wouldn't you agree?
Objection!
Enough of this. I, for one, refuse to accept it. The idea of some poison that doesn't even exist in the great empire of Japan is breaking the rules. So funny. Oh, excuse me. Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. May I borrow that bottle for a moment, please? Well, yes, I don't see, she's gonna drink it. But it's not gonna hurt her because she has no wound. Very seductive, dude. The waiter, the policeman, very seductive. Don't get too big for your boots, you insignificant little island boys. Sorry? To an English woman such as myself, this whole affair is a farcical comedy. Your little police games and these foolish courtroom antics. It's laughable, really. But I'm getting bored of it all now. It's time for the games to end. Cheers. Oh man, this isn't gonna work though. No wound. Gotta be a wound. Wait, what are you doing? No sparkle left at all. How appropriate for this shabby affair. So quiet. They're all waiting to see if she dies. Goodness. Whatever is the matter? You all look quite stunned. So, no cure air? The bottle wasn't clean? Is that what you're saying? You look quite incredulous, little boy, but of course. That's the simple truth. Thank you for presenting the findings of my research so concisely here in the Grand Venue. Most kind. Thank you, waiter. Now then, Your Excellency. Yes, Miss Brett. I should like to be excused now, please. I think I've given more than enough of my time for the furtherance of friendship between our countries. Yes, dear lady. We are most gratified with all the assistance you have given. This doesn't make sense. There had to have been poison in that bottle. But how did she swallow a whole glass and live to tell the tale? I don't understand it. Well, I suppose if nothing else, this little Far Eastern charade, can I present this now? No, I can't. That's a shame. Will make for interesting conversation at the next party I attend in London. There has to have been poison in that bottle. Isn't there? But there can't have been. Because otherwise she would have killed over dead. Come on, Ryu. We have all the clues now. That bottle of water. Poison. Culprit did put cure air poison into Dr. Wilson's carbonated water. Defense refuses to change its position. You're serious.
Objection!
Oh, are you blind? There is no possible way that bottle could contain poison. I mean, we just saw. Is Brett drinking the water from it? That's right, which rather complicates your argument, I think. And I believe that complication can be explained. How exactly? I need to think through all the things that don't quite add up here, one by one. I'm sure the answer is in the evidence we have in the court record somewhere. It has to be. Very well, if the defense truly intends to assert this claim, then I must ask you to support the assertion with evidence.
Yes!
The answer to this riddle is right here in Miss Brett's own research report.
Objection!
That's not a valid explanation. No. After all, we don't speak English. That report is utter gibberish. This impudent young scoundrel is trying to ridicule the court, Your Excellency. I'm not trying to ridicule anyone, honest. Just reading Sosa's notes. I concur, this report is too extensive to be considered in its entirety by the court. You will direct us to the pertinent section, counsel. Which section of the report reveals the alleged answer to the riddle? Let me look at it more closely real quick. What section is special route of entry. Oh, it's under special characteristics. We've been hearing a lot about this cure air poison, and it's left me curious about something. Oh, counsel. Well, it sounds as though indigenous hunters have been using this poison for years and years to lace the heads of the arrows that they shoot at whatever prey they're hunting. So we've been led to believe, yes. And the point of hunting is to catch prey to eat. Get to the point, please. But if they were to use these laced arrows, doesn't that mean there would be traces of poison left in the prey the hunters were going to eat? Yes, good point. So surely the hunters wouldn't want to eat their prey, would they? Because then they'd be eating poison. Good gracious, counsel, no, that would be madness. But I actually found the answer to that conundrum in this research paper here. Special characteristics, it says this. Poison starts to work after entering the body through a wound. Through a wound, you say? I see, that makes sense. Yes, the mention of that particular detail seemed a little strange to me, though. But it all makes sense when you interpret what's written like this. When Carrere enters the body through an open wound, it has terrifying poisonous effects. However, when it enters the body via the mouth, it has no poisonous effects whatsoever. What? Miss Brett, you authored this research, you knew Carrere's special characteristics, and you knew that you could make a spectacle of drinking that water without any danger to yourself. You meddling little... rapscallion! Oh, we're getting her. Well, Ryu, it turns out you're an even better lawyer than I thought you'd be. Really? Me? A lawyer?
Objection!
Oh, all this poison talk is fascinating, I'm sure. But I fail to see how it's possible. So the ill-bred little puppy has a new toy to play with. Some facts he read in a book. And I'm afraid knowledge doesn't suit you, little boy. It only makes you look silly. What are you trying to say? Schoolboyish logic has a fatal flaw. Schoolboyish? Flaw? As even your brain has managed to deduce, Carrere is safe to ingest. It seems likely that its effects are neutralized by the acidic nature of the gastric sucks. Oh, yes, well, of course. Gastric suckers, what are they? So, if this lethal poison is completely harmless when drunk, the professor wouldn't have died when he swallowed it, would he? That's right! Good gracious! That's basic science. Science that even a schoolboy should be able to understand, no? The dentist! The dentist! Order! Order in court! Order! Logic holds. If the lady and the professor drank the same poison, they would be affected in the same way. Are you trying to suggest? Yes, this Carrere poison is completely irrelevant to the case on trial. Surely even a little cockroach like you could understand something as simple as that. Come on, we got her. We got her. What is this welling up inside me? I've never felt like this before. It's a sort of conviction to break down all the discrepancies. It's so intense, almost rage-like. What the hell is happening, dude? More than anything else, it's an animalistic desire to take down my prey.
Objection!
Oh! Oh, he said the thing! Let's go! I don't think so, Miss Giselle Brett. How dare you use that tone with me? This is when he changes into from Yugi to Yama Yugi. You know very well there is no fatal flaw here. You know exactly why, even though both you and the victim swallowed the same poison. You are alive, but Dr. Wilson is dead. Counsel, I'm sure I don't need to remind you, you must provide compelling evidence, as we know that this poison is completely harmless when ingested. Why would Dr. Wilson alone have been killed by the Carrere? This we go to the...
Take that!
As Miss Brett so readily pointed out, she drank the same water as the professor. However, there was a fundamental and fatal difference between the two diners. A fatal difference. The toxic effects of Carrere are only felt when the poison enters the body through an open wound. So, for a healthy person with no injuries, drinking it is completely harmless. But, what if there was a wound inside the mouth of the person drinking the poisoned water? Inside? Yes, like the wound you might have if you had just been to the dentist and had a tooth extracted, for example. Miss Brett, you've acknowledged many times in your testimony already that you were well aware of Dr. Wilson's dental appointment that day. So that's it. You used that knowledge to orchestrate this. Got her. Dead to rights. Is she laughing? I don't like to repeat myself, but honestly I can't resist. These childish courtroom games and your half-baked arguments are also puerile. What do you mean? Don't worry, little schoolboy, you'll find out soon enough. she just leave? You see, when you leave vital evidence lying around, you never know what might happen to it. No! I mean, it could just slip. Dear, how careless of me. I'm afraid some crucial evidence may have just been tragically destroyed. No! What is it? What just happened? It's the Englishwoman. She just smashed that bottle. And in the Supreme Court, what a terrible blunder! Officer, what are you waiting for? Collect up as much of the water from that broken bottle as possible at once. You're wasting your time. This delightful carpet under my feet was a gift from the British Empire. I assure you it will soak up the water beautifully. You have neither the technology nor the presence of mind to recover it. How could you? You won't get away with this. Bitch. Sorry, I couldn't resist. You can thump the bench and shout as much as you like, little boy. But I'm afraid we'll never know now. There really was poison in the bottle. Not. You. And let us not forget, we still have some very compelling evidence left intact. Is that right, counsel for the prosecution? Oh, of course, of course. You're referring to this photographic print, I presume, dear lady. That's right, and really, looking at this photograph, it's clear as day, isn't it? The poor professor was sitting with his back to me. But of course, the only person who could have shot him from the front is the little schoolboy.
Objection!
No, you killed the victim that day, using Carrere. And then, in order to frame Ryo for the crime, you waited until he picked up the pistol you'd arranged for him to find on the floor, before you shot the professor's dead body in the chest with your own hidden gun. Then, in the confusion that followed, all you had to do was turn the dead professor in his chair around. See? You had every opportunity to commit this crime. What a wonderful imagination you have, young man. A hidden gun, you say, and I shot the professor's dead body, did I? Well, I'm terribly sorry, but I don't have a shred of evidence. Exactly. And as you have nothing to support your wild claims, the prosecution's stance remains unchanged. Victim, Dr. John H. Wilson, was killed by a gunshot to the chest. Delivered in cold blood by the accused Ryu. This is unbelievable. How can this be happening? We had her, but now, is she really going to get away with it? The way she destroyed that evidence was obscene. Ryu. Yes? We've come this far, but now you're the only one who can finish it. What? What do you mean? We've lost a vital piece of evidence, it's true. If there are any clues left for us now, it must be in your head. Oh no! My head? You told me before that your powers of observation were the one thing you could really depend on. Well, yes, that's true, but I didn't manage to notice that this woman was a foreigner with a swan on her head, and my fly was open. But think back again now. Try to remember every last detail about the scene that day. Everything you saw, everything you felt, every color, every smell. This is how we get new evidence all of a sudden. I saw, what I felt, every color. Is Kazuma right? Somewhere in the vibrant memory of this same scene in my head, could there be another clue to expose the identity of Dr. Wilson's killer? Clue. Look at it! Actually, Kazuma, I think I might have something. Looking back over everything I saw, I think I might have uncovered another clue. Haha, you always have something up your sleeve, don't you, Ryo? Come on then, let's wipe the smug smile off that Englishwoman's face with some evidence. Alright, I can't wait. It's been niggling me for a while that something feels amiss in my memories of that day. Whatever it is could be the key to arriving at the truth about all this. It's here somewhere. The clue that shows who Dr. Wilson's real killer must have been is... not this. It's a stake itself. Oh, it's not highlighting anything. Let's look at the blood.
Take that!
Inspector Asanaga, answer me this. Yes? What is it? He still smiles away, probably thinking about it. That bottle being smashed. As you've said a number of times now, you strive for perfection in your investigations, don't you? Absolutely. I wonder, therefore, if perhaps you took anything else from the scene of the crime. Like, for instance, the plate of steak that you took to the victim's table that day.
Objection!
Wait a minute, where are you going with... Where are you going with this, little boy? It's just... memory that's been troubling me. What memory? I saw the scene shown in the photographic print with my own eyes that day. And I saw that on the wooden base of the plate that the steak was served on was a spattering of blood. What? Oh, really? And what of it? Obviously, that must have happened when you shot the professor. No, that can't be the case. Take a good look at the photograph and the relative position of everything there. The plate of steak is almost directly behind the victim. I'm supposed to have shot Dr. Wilson in the chest from the front. There's no way that blood from the victim could have ended up directly behind him. Ah! Yes. For blood to have made it onto the plate, it implies the plate was between the victim and the shooter. Which means the shooter must have been sitting opposite the professor, as you were. So, Brett! Wrong voice. I beg your pardon?
Objection!
This is beyond ridiculous, fabricated nonsense. Is the court seriously expected to believe something the accused has apparently just remembered seeing?
Hold it!
What do we got? What do we got? This could be the moment that my entire career in the police force has been leading to. I took the stick. Inspector, you mean... Yes, I took the plate. I didn't enter it into evidence for no reason. In the interest of preserving evidence from the scene of the crime. I took it, meat and all, and I don't care if they call me a crime scene thief because of it. You did what? I took the steak that you had been eating, Miss Brett. I took the steak that the sergeant had been eating. And I did it all in the name of justice. Then we can find out for sure whether or not there's a bloodstain on Miss Brett's plate. We must examine it now. Oh man. Inspector! The court wishes to examine the plate from the victim's table immediately. Yes, sir. Sorry for the delay. Here is what you ordered. Steak. Well, what about the blood? Is there blood on it? They swapped the plates. They definitely swapped the plates. Of course there isn't. Quickly, Inspector, the blood, man. Show the court. Of course, examine the plate at your leisure. No, no blood. No blood anywhere. But no, that's impossible! I know I saw it, I'm sure of it. It was right there on the table behind the professor. There was blood on the side of the plate. What an unbecoming expression, little boy. You see, this is why I always say you can't trust what the Japanese tell you. Wow. She's racist. I couldn't agree more. In the case of this disgrace of the Empire, I believe we may have finally reached a conclusion in this trial. Let's hope so. Let's pretend an attempt at courtroom proceedings is painful to watch. I do promise to do my best to forget all about it when it's over. This sorry-looking steak reveals the facts all too clearly. If the sorry-looking accused wishes to examine it again, be my guest. Alright, let's look at it some more. Was the plate I saw or thought I saw just a figment of my imagination? I'll look at it. What? Huh? What in the world is this? I think it's a Koban coin, and the hallmark is from the Hoei area. This is that old man's trinket, isn't it? I bet the sergeant took it and hid it under a stake. No, I don't mean what is it? I mean, what's it doing there? And then that's how we ended up with the plates, because they swapped. Wait, did you say it was a Hoei Kaban? Yes, and apart from the meat juices, it looks to be in good condition. I imagine it's very valuable. This isn't the first time today that there's been talk about it. I don't know if I'm saying that right, by the way, I'm sorry. I've heard of pearls before swine, but I've never heard of bullion and bullion. I don't think you will ever will again. Extraordinary, though. This means... Look directly at the coin. I certainly never expected to find a precious coin underneath this thick cut of meat. It's from the Hoei era too. That would make it really quite valuable. It's well marinated in the juices as well. Look. What are you thinking of eating it? No, but the next time I order a steak in an expensive restaurant, one thing's for sure. My heart's going to be racing as I lift up the meat and peer underneath for a prize. I think you might have the wrong end of the stick about this, Ryo. One coin underneath the steak. There's only one logical explanation. Anything else? Oh, we can look at this still. This emblem on the side of the plate. Is it a cat? It's a cow, obviously. Most likely because the restaurant's signature dish is beef steak. Seems a lot of different restaurants have their own unique tableware. This is a symbol of La Carnival, is it? That doesn't seem important. I mean, apart from the burn. This is it now. I've lost. Ryo, it's not over yet. Not until the final gavel. Never stop believing in yourself. Keep looking forward, no matter what. Believe in myself? Really? Maybe I should at least examine the evidence for myself. We already did this. We're way ahead of the game. As the evidence requested by the defense has not been shown to be problematic in any way, I presume any further examination of evidence in this trial will be unnecessary. Does the defense have any objection? Bloodstain was going to clinch the trial for me. Does this plate of steak reveal any other clues at all? Your Excellency, please wait. This plate of beef is hiding another clue. Another clue that will reveal the shocking truth. The only thing that's shocking here is your unhealthy fascination with beef steak. Your Excellency, I think I've made myself clear, haven't I? I will not be able to turn a blind eye to any more unnecessary procrastination in this trial. I'm sorry, Miss Brett, but we must ensure a thorough examination of the evidence. I will not give a ruling until I'm completely satisfied that all reasonable doubt has been dispelled. I see. As a newly affirmed ally of my country, that's still your position, is it? Thank you, Your Excellency. Counsel for the defense, you will now clearly show the court to what you are alluding. All under here.
Got it!
No, Counsel, I'm afraid that won't do. That was ambiguous at best. When you're asked to identify details, you must be known as a penalty for mistakes. The answer's right here in front of me. I'm sure of it, so there's only one thing to do. Turn the steak over. Can we lift it? There we go. Huh? Oh, we already did this. We already did this. Skip. We're over time for the video. I'm waiting until we get to a good stopping point. I don't know if we'll solve the case all the way today, but we're definitely close. Bullying and bullying is such a good joke. Good gracious, that's... Ah! Koban? What on earth? Ahoy, air, what at that? Miss Brett. This is in fact the beefsteak that you ordered at the restaurant on the day in question, is it? Tell me, why is there an old coin seemingly hidden underneath the meat?
Shut up!
What a ridiculous question, how should I know? I've never seen that before in my life. I don't know what this is, but I want no part of it.
Objection!
I fail to see how this is relevant. A coin under the meat? That could simply have been a careless mistake by the chef and a moment of distraction. Don't be absurd. We're supposed to believe that this happened to be an accident in the kitchen? A rare Hoei Koban coin just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? This turns out to be irrelevant to the case. I'll rip up my ticket to Great Britain right now. God, forget Great Britain. Your Excellency. Yes, Counsel. A rare Hoei Koban just happens to be hidden underneath that piece of steak? This turns out to be irrelevant to the case. I'll give up my lawyer job right now.
Objection!
By all means, don't let us stop you. No one invited you anyway.
Shut up!
Perhaps, little boy, you should realize that it is you who is irrelevant. She is sassy. No, I'm the one on trial here? The point is, it's essential that we ask the owner of this coin if he can explain what's it doing under that steak. The owner? Yes, it's obvious. There's only one person it can belong to. The owner of the Koban that was found underneath the beefsteak is...
Take that!
Obviously, it can only be the antiques dealer and owner of Rasute, Kuro Karokura-san. As in Mr. Cucumber or something? Honestly, these ridiculous Japanese names are quite unfathomable. Ah, yes. The old man who testified earlier alongside the military sergeant, correct? Yes, Your Excellency. I remember him saying that he was up to something with his Koban coin when it happened. At exactly the moment the gun was fired. Gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Busy on the floor. Sorry, what were you doing? Yeah, he lost his coin. Yeah. Then this Koei era Koban, do you mean to tell me?
Objection!
No, please, why would Karokura-san's Koban be sandwiched between the victim's beefsteak and its blade? It makes no sense. Which is why I'm asking to bring him back to the witness stand so we can ask him. Officer, bring both witnesses that testified earlier back in here. Without a moment's delay. Perfect. Can't believe we've come back round to that pair again. But I have a strong hunch, that if we chase down the real significance of this Koban, we'll find it's a key element in the case. Perfect. We got the full troop here. The whole contingent. We're gonna stop here. we're over time, dude. We're over time, y'all. I'm so sorry. Next time, I think we'll conclude the case. I think we're getting close. And I think I already know what happened, generally. I think that the blood plate got swapped with the coin plate at some point. And I think the sergeant is the one who hid the coin under his steak. I think that's where we're at. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's what happened. So we'll see how it shakes out, but I feel pretty confident about that. But that's all I got. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate you. Take care of yourself. Take care of others. I'll see you next time. Peace out.